I'm in the same hotel. It's okay. I'm in the lounge, but there's no one in here. And if there was someone in here, I'd just speak quietly. It doesn't matter because anyone around the world can watch this, so it doesn't matter. I'm in a public place. YouTube is for the world to see. There's nothing to hide. I will say this though, the people I'm about to mention, including myself, I'll be very careful. I won't use the names of other vulnerable people. And those names that I do mention, I have no shame in mentioning those names because those are the people that have made me angry. They have failed to stop and correct. They have failed in their duty, their jobs, what they said they'd do. These charities, these local charities. And Chantel, who does watch my YouTube. Because what Catherine has told me about you, I'm not surprised you've upset a lot of people. What I don't like is people who know my vulnerability, know my kindness, know my honesty, and do that virtue signalling, that typical Eastbourne fakery, that, covert narcissism. Doesn't wash with me. Doesn't wash. So, yes, Chantel from Matthew 25, because I've got something to say about Matthew 25, and I've got something to say about warming up the homeless, not the people that hand out food to the homeless who are very generous, not those people. Trudy, from who set up the charity. Because I thought she'd slept rough herself. Because a lot of these people, they're in the club, they're ex-police. I didn't know she was ex-police until the people at the charity told me that. And that's great if you're working 100 hours a week and you're really working so hard to help people. But, and this is the B-U-T in capitals, they told me that this woman set up this charity. She's ex-police. She particularly helps vulnerable women. Wait for it, because I've got a lot to say. I've got a lot to get off my chest. It's okay, there's no one in here. That's why I'm not worried about raising my voice. It's a big lounge. By the way, this is a hotel. I won't say which hotel I'm in, but although it will be obvious from previous videos, the manager, the ex-deputy manager of this hotel saw me in my nightwear because SDR living round the corner, that's the brand new flat I was beaten out of. And the deputy manager of this hotel said we get complaints about that place all the time, and he forwarded complaints to the head of police, the managing director of SDR Living, where they help people with complex needs, was one of the ones who had locked me out of the flat. And that was a response to my father's death. So Barwells are going to know about this, because I'm thinking about sending a suicidal message to them, because let's face it, all in the club, everyone's going to know about it. There are people who know about my YouTube channel that I didn't even know knew about it, but they don't have the audacity to say, oh, Bryony, I know about your YouTube channel, but they do that. Fair enough, because it's there for the world to see. This town has got a Freemason lodge. It's the pit of darkness, and As that man who worked at the library said, do you think the Illuminati are in Eastbourne? I'm like, I know they are. I know the Illuminati are in Eastbourne. We all do. I worked with a Freemason. I've got to be very careful what I say. I'm jumping all over the place here, but there are two ladies in the accommodation I'm in. I hope they do get to know about this video because I want to say this. I want to get this off my chest. Let me just wet my whistle. Excuse me. I would say Shalom Shabbat, but you're now into the following day. Hang on a minute. I just move up a bit. So there are two ladies at the house where I live. I'm jumping all over the place here, but I'll mention it in a minute. Hello. So basically, always got to be careful what I say because I'm, but I want to put this out there because these two ladies are concerned about me. They're very nice, and I mustn't say their names because I've got to protect them. Actually, I think I've got to protect them more than myself. But it's very difficult because I've had a sheltered upbringing. Obviously, I wasn't born under a gooseberry bush, and I wasn't born yesterday, obviously, but these people have come from women's refuges and had boyfriends put in prison for beating them up. They've taken drugs and that kind of thing. So without even alluding to these ladies, they saw me in a great deal of distress. The first lady, I was told they were nice ladies. The managing director of Lilybank Homes didn't even bother to tell me that they'd had some sort of a police raid thing where they threw flashbangs, which are things, I don't know what these things are, but apparently they make very loud noises to get someone out of a house. Because there was a woman in there who allegedly, according to one of the ladies, had some sort of psychotic episode and said that there was a man with a knife in there. And I said, oh, that's just great for my PTSD, because I've been told that with this losing blood that having heart palpitations could be life-threatening by a doctor. And of course, on the 15th of August, the council did not do what the law courts told them to do, which was to get an illegal evictions officer. Because on the 8th of August, I've got to be careful what I say, but District Judge Harper said to the landlady that he could put her in prison right away, but he didn't. Then he turned to me. This is for the evil that's been done to me. Then he's almost having a go at me, the victim, telling me what the council should be doing and that he had worked in housing law. So I can't say too much. But I will say this. The solicitor has had a word with the landlady who was abroad until the 4th of September when she should be in prison for not just one offence, but, well, actually, there are 3 offences because she didn't get a court warrant to touch my possessions, so that's another crime. So I spoke to the solicitor. She even rang the solicitor to ask if he would represent her. Yeah, there's a lot that I've got to be very careful. She's probably watching this. After all, because of the breach of GDPR and the the information that I have sent to the solicitor about this landlady with evidence of breach of GDPR, because they're all in on it. It's all set up by design against you. So, in short, on the 15th of August, obviously I was messed around that day. I'd been self-funding a hotels that I was in back in January unlawfully for 6 weeks, because obviously the legal ombudsman are investigating Andrew Cook, who is my current housing officer. Because I now realise that what they did was they literally got the Stasi in, the police, to beat me out of my flat as a response to my father's death. They tried to get me in prison for being suicidal on Beachy Head, which is why the legal ombudsman had previously tried to get me compensation. So they beat me out of my SDR flat. Yes, Monique. Yes, Monique, I know you know about my YouTube. You've seen it. I know you have. Because I've got the recording of you when they trafficked me to Pevensey Road. And Trudy from Warming Up the Homeless is supposed to be putting a complaint to your superior, Jamie Wainwright. Yes, for being rude to me the other day. Because you said that the council don't have illegal evictions officers. Well, that's funny, because District Judge Harper said they do. But you weren't doing your lawful duty after you kicked me out of you dragged me, beat me out of my flat. Guys, this is why the UK is in such a state. People are leaving this country, left, right and centre. We are becoming a full-on communist state. Now, I went to Poland when I was 16. And I'm telling you now, I've had hangable offences under Nuremberg trials. And yes, I will say their names. And if you don't like it, tough. Because I'll go onto the street with a loudhailer before I suicide on a well-famous suicide spot. If it's the last thing I do on this damned earth, this damned country. Yeah, no, the West is under attack. I wish my mother had stayed at sea in the 50s and 60s. I'm seeing so much corruption, but when it's going on in your little seaside town on a mass scale, and it involved the deputy manager of this hotel, yeah, you are cowards. So anyway, in this current temporary accommodation, I mean, the police came in to check up on one of the girls there, and again, I won't say her name, but they looked like children. A boy who looked about 16. He said, Bryony. I said, oh, you know about I know about your YouTube channel. That's the police for you. You can't burp or fart without them sending you to prison. You can't just be human. You can't even have a mental breakdown. You can't. I'm someone who puts someone in prison single-handed without any help for attempted rape on me. They put him on a sex offenders register in 2011 at Hove Crown Court. And I had domestic violence. I lost my mother. No one was helping me. At some point, if no one's helping you, you're going to scream. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't be normal if you didn't. That would make you human, not schizophrenic. So, on that note, all I want to say is that there are two women where I'm living in this temporary accommodation where they had a police raid before I moved in. I will show you holes in the walls where someone punched holes. These two women who've just had their boyfriends put in prison for beating them up, they've taken drugs in the past and they're clean right now. Now, I've had a sheltered life, but they said to me, and I hope they do watch this video, I haven't told them what the name of my YouTube channel is. But there's a reason why I want them to see this. They seem genuine, but of course, I've just had one of those motherly landladies, this very, very evil 85-year-old retired hospital matron who's happy to go to prison for what she did to me. And I believed her when she said she'd help me write a book because of these psychopaths. Yeah, and the breach of GDPR and all of that. These people are psychopaths, sociopaths, and narcissists, and they're so sick in the head they can't see it. But I can look in the mirror, I can ask myself, Bryony, are you a narcissist? And I know I'm not one, because a narcissist, these deluded people don't think that there's anything wrong with them. That's why they're put in positions of power, like Stasi Starmer. I enjoyed watching that video where the public are being abusive to this evil criminal that we've got as a Prime Minister. Oh, well, they'll probably put me in prison for saying that, won't they? What do they call him? Oh, what's the nickname they give him? I've forgotten now. But anyway, in the US, I mean, someone watched me being attacked live in the early hours from the US when I was at Belmore Road. And, you know, I believe them. They said, crumbs, I thought, you know, our cops were bad. Your cops don't do anything. I'll put a link in the description later when I've uploaded this video. Maybe I'll put a link in the description so you can watch it again. There's blood on my door, no one doing anything. These several times I was attacked, and I've got the dictaphone with me. I played the dictaphone recording to one of the women in the property, and I told her about PC Scott Franklin Lester, who arrested me. Sergeant Simmons told me to purchase a dictaphone when I went down to the custody centre. Said it on the intercom. I did that. Then they arrested me for doing it. I've got so much evidence on here. So much criminal, crucial evidence on here. People are saying I'm crazy, but these cowards are afraid of me because I'm telling the truth. Because that's the most dangerous thing that you can do, is to tell the truth, even if it's there. The truth that I'm speaking is to help everyone else, is to protect everyone else. That's why people have said to me, trust me, you are doing work. You might be on benefits, but yeah, I'm working bloody hard. I'm doing my bit. Whilst this is why my mother didn't want to come back to the UK. She had an amazing life at sea when she went travelling in 1956 when she was 18. Travelled the world. She lived in different countries. She didn't want to come back here. And I now know what she means about our culture. So anyway, these two women, they know who Sherelle Clark and Dion Clark are. Mentioned in the BBC News as mugging the elderly, 22 previous convictions. Where's the protection of the general public? Because I am the general public. Do you realise that these Satanists, these Freemasons that allegedly do these satanic rituals, do you realise their only weapon is your silence and your fear? And Yahweh is protecting me. This will only go on if you shut up and do nothing, and it will get worse. Do you want terrible things to happen to you? Because that's where we're going. That's where this country is going. Just speaking the truth. Innocent people are being arrested just for nothing. But I'm actually the mind boggles, doesn't it? It's amazing. I mean, these two girls are telling me that they want to get me they said you should be in your own flat where your partner can come and visit you. My partner, the way that this Luke, these idiots, I mean, come on. The shower was dangerously hot. And when I say dangerously hot, scalding hot. One of the girls burnt herself. It was that hot. I had to throw the shower hose down because it's metal. It was burning hot. Where's the health and safety? Where's the health and safety with Eastbourne Borough Council? Because it went from bloody cold to dangerously hot. Oh, and now it's a little bit warm. I wouldn't say not that. It's not hot. I like a hot shower. But I don't want a hot shower that's going to be bloody burning me, and then it goes freezing cold. And in the meantime, John from Lilybank Homes, oh, don't kill yourself because it'll be a lot of paperwork. Oh, okay. And I text him to say, I'll put my suicide on hold for you so you don't have to do all that loads of bureaucracy and paperwork in this god-awful country. This country that was once Great Britain. I mean, come on. I just met that whole day that I was only meant to be in there for one night. There was no illegal evictions officer, so they weren't doing what the county courts were telling them that they should do. The district judge told me what Eastbourne Borough Council should do. They didn't. So what do? They put me in this bloody place. My partner got the key to the place. It's a women-only place. It's not a proper women's refuge. Because I thought, why are they putting me in a women's refuge? It's not a proper women's refuge. I've never been in a proper women's refuge. I've never taken drugs. I've never been beaten up. I've been assaulted by the police and I've had attempted rape, but I've never, ever been in that situation. I'm a very strong woman. I've never taken drugs. I don't drink and I don't smoke. If you see me like that, that's because I'm human. That's because I've lost my soulmate mother. My sister is brain damaged. All these idiots that were telling me to get over my mother's death. Oh, well, my mum died. I mean, I'm sorry, but I've got to be careful how I say things because my godmother, who turned nasty and strange, and my partner's mother said that to me. Well, my mother died. And that's why I haven't seen my partner's mother family for years. And that makes my blood boil, that does, because my mother was my soulmate. My transgender sister, she's just turned 50. She's only just had these dissociative disorders. Now they've experimented on her. She's taking legal action against our mother's estate to stay in my mother's flat. She needs help washing and dressing. I hadn't seen her like this before. I'm still in shock. The women in this property are telling me, because my sister's carer, who was abusive to me, don't forget, I haven't seen my sister for years. You imagine seeing your sibling, a estranged sibling, when they've done some nasty things and said some nasty things. They've been living in your mother's flat whilst you've been battling homelessness, narcissistic abuse, corruption, unprecedented levels of corruption. And then you suddenly see your sister on crutches with she's got all these ailments that she didn't have before. She's arthritis. She told me she's got an aneurysm that she didn't know she'd had since she was a baby in her head that's caused brain damage. I read the Facebook message, and that aneurysm has caused brain damage, but that was all because of the migraine she had caused by the loss of our mother. The migraines got so bad. So in essence, our mother's death has been physically and mentally killing us. And I've just found out I'm severely anemic and been losing blood and I need a blood transfusion. But I do believe this is stress. Because me and my transgender sister, and she does know this, she's got the spirit of knowledge. She knows. She knows. She knows. She even admitted to everything that she's contradicting herself with this evil satanic experimentation. I mean, God, I'm being told by these psychopath nutcases, your sister is a man. Oh, sorry, I'm the one that's deluded. Oh, I'm so sorry. Can you now understand why these ladies who, the one that, I've got to be very careful what I say, but I kind of want them to see this YouTube video because I can't say it to their faces. I'm keeping a safe distance. But the lady they can't see things that I can see, and the truth scares them. And they admitted to it. If I'm talking about, I've met victims of satanic ritual abuse, I've met a fraud investigator who is investigating fraud, theft and money laundering, baby organ harvesting on the NHS, and they can't handle it. Now, the woman that's a victim of satanic ritual abuse, the South African woman who's in her late 60s, I said, is it true about the baby eating stuff, eating babies? She said, yes. She said, I wouldn't have told you if I didn't think you could handle it. That was in the psychiatric unit. Now, your guess is as good as mine. But then there was a woman, a 71-year-old ex. There was, I have to keep my voice down because there are people in here. They've just walked in. But there was a 71-year-old woman, ex-prostitute, and from Italy, and she was crying. And she was opening up to me, and she said that she had been human trafficked, and it was the owner of a estate agent in Eastbourne, and they'd filmed her forced her to have sex with animals, which is what these psychopath Freemasons do. This is what they do. This is a reality, and people need to wake up. If you don't like it, tough, because this is the reality that's going on. And I had to see this woman being abused just like me and the others in that hellhole. She'd been human trafficked. Now, it's the cowards. The cowards. What makes me, I tell you what it is that makes me angry. It's not that these women, I do think that they're genuine. I do think they do genuinely. I think they're concerned for me and my welfare. Number one is they can't handle the truth, so because they just can't handle it, despite the fact that they've come from a background where they've been taking drugs from the age of 14 into adulthood. So they want to find a reason. Oh, there's got to be a reason. She can't be telling the truth. Maybe she's schizophrenic. Oh, look at her all panicky and scared. But then I played the recording to the other lady of the raging alcoholic on a tag threatening to beat me senseless at 3 a.m. and the police officer that turned up that was meant to be investigating this criminal, because they protect criminals. They tried to get me in prison for being suicidal with Serco. So, Chantel, who knows about my YouTube channel, apparently Chantel has upset other people as well. Well, it doesn't surprise me. I hardly know Chantel. I hardly know David. David and Chantel have given very different accounts about each other that are completely contradictory and conflicting. And but the lady, the very nice lady who's got to move away and change her name because of the evil Luciferian child services, and I've forgotten the word she used, but it's that evil agency that collects information about vulnerable families. She's got to change her. She's got more than one name for her own protection and her children who have been forced into these dangerous council human trafficking hovels, just like me. And that lady has told me that Chantal, at some point when I was in A&E, this is why there are only some people whose names I will use. So it's funny that Chantal thinks it's wrong to use people's names, because she's quite rightly, as David said, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Because when she saw me in A&E in distress, she gave the just like this very, very evil landlady, this 85-year-old retired matron, she's given this air of concern. But what she's actually gone and done is she said to the security guards in A&E, "Oh, could you not give Bryony a cup of tea? You know." I'm not surprised if it's true that she does go around taking drugs. It does not surprise me, because they're all in the same club. You know, it's like what Mark Devlin said about the Cray twins. If you want to know where to get drugs from, it's from these politicians. They set it up like that. The gangsters, the nightclubs. That's why you've got all of this, the cabal in Eastbourne. So basically, I've come to find out that this is what's basically going on. And I'm just telling it, call a spade a spade. But she asked the security guards to get me a cup of tea. I think this must have been last year. Was it last year? They got me a cup of tea. I was not as distressed as I might otherwise be. But basically, they got me a cup of tea. And then at some point, the security guards, they just wanted to get me out of the hospital. So the number of times I could have sued them, they grabbed me on each arm and escorted me off the grounds, the hospital grounds, which is unlawful. They do this all the time. An old woman was watching me in horror. She was looking at me on the hospital grounds, and I remained calm. I said, do you see what this is what they do to the people? And I snuck back into A&E, which was very brave of me, given the fact that me and my partner have been assaulted and injured by security guards. Yes, by both police and security guards. We've had hospital staff look at our injuries caused by public servants who do nothing about a drunk for 3 hours, according to hospital staff. Yes, this is what's actually going on. So I snuck back into the hospital on this occasion, and the old lady who had just seen me, she was just like stunned. And I said to her, do you know, I've got to be very careful because I don't want them to assault me again. I've come back in here. I told this old one, I said what they'd done to me before. And I went up to Chantal and I said to Chantal, and she'll see this video, so, you know, enjoy your gossip. Because I don't, as nice as I am to your face, I ain't stupid. I do not trust any of you. I know a wolf in sheep's clothing, and I test the spirit, and may Abba Yahweh rebuke you for this. Because I went up to you and I told you how I bravely went back into the hospital, and you were all sweet cakes and flowers and fairies about it, airy-fairy. And what did you do? I've just learnt from you-know-who on Facebook that outside Matthew 25, you went up to that criminal thug, PC Scott Franklin Lester, and you said to him, "Oh, I've just seen Bryony in A&E. I think she's causing a bit of a scene." think you're better going, what? Beat me again? Assault me? Yes, you couldn't make it up, could you? So do be very, very, very wary of people. As nice as these two ladies are, and this is the second thing that's making me angry. I can forgive one of these two women for asking me if I'm schizophrenic. That's a very strange question to ask someone. But if it's because you're afraid of the horrifying truth that is screaming you in the face, because I would like to know what happened to John Alexander Patterson. He's in his 70s. The deep state tortured him for exposing fraud, theft, money laundering, baby organ harvesting on the NHS, which is a form of, well, sacrificing babies, if you like. Just like abortion, which is why my mother, who had an abortion, a legal abortion in 1958 in Pennsylvania, she didn't realise, but she went to a priest. And I used to think abortion was a good thing. I've learnt a lot along the way. Yes. But Brian Setchfield, who set up Crime Stoppers, his nephew, he's related to the Dauphin, who is Marie Antoinette's son. You know Marie Antoinette, who was guillotined. And if you look up Brian Setchfield from Seaford, which is where I grew up, and he's got a lock of hair, DNA from the Dauphin. And if you look up Dangerous Exile, it's a banned movie from the 1950s, and it tells you the truth about what happened to the Dauphin, little Louis, because it's very upsetting, but you've been lied to. You're the history books, everything. And I tell you what, Abu Yahweh has really blessed me, because on my travels I have met the most interesting people you will meet. The ones who tell the truth are the ones being tortured, being put in prison, being put in these psychiatric units, being discredited. They are the most interesting, most intelligent, traumatized people I will ever get to meet. And if you cowards out there want to carry on discrediting me, carry on, because your time is coming to an end. We are in the last days. We're seeing riots on the streets. I predicted this 20 years ago. Okay? What is it that... Do you know what Monique said to me at the hub? What is it that stops you from taking your own life? Well, she's one of the causes of it. And she's got a lot... She's been complicit in what's been done to me. And she said, do you think maybe people are afraid of you telling the truth? Well, Monique, only if they've got something to hide, and you have, and so has John Tutty, because John Tutty typed up a fraudulent Section 184 that's got to go to this solicitor. He said, I broke utilities that the plumber confirmed were already broken. It was dilapidated. The washer on the tap had gone. Oh, but I'll help you get into a one-bedroom flat. And this was a housing officer who said he had slept rough himself. So, trust me, if you want to know the truth, look no further than what's going on around you. Switch off your TVs. Stop listening to malicious gossip and all these sick, very sick, demon-possessed people, because there are a lot of them, and the worst ones are the ones that are running the show. I'm going to forward the witness statements from Juliet Rawson to this solicitor that went to the local MP. I reached out to councillors, and as a direct result of me taking the instructions from Councillor Josh Babarundi, OBE, to go down to the council as a direct result. Oh, I'll speak to Gary Hall, head of housing, and I'm physically assaulted, pushed and shoved out of there. Apparently there's a new head of housing, and his name is, let me just have a look. Luke told me what his name is. Lucas Williams is now the head of housing. Sally Fisher is the TA team. You know, it's all the same people involved, in the people that you're making the complaints about, the people that you're, you know, this Luke is one of the maintenance. I mean, he said to me, look, if we listen to so many sob stories, we can't get involved, otherwise we would end up in a mental institution. Of course you would. I said, I understand that. But I said, and I had to hide my anger. I really had to hide it. Believe me, they have no idea. I said, John, the director, after everything I was telling him about, he texted me to say, oh, I will let the council know this place is not suitable for you. And this idiot we're talking the same person who said, oh, it's a lot of paperwork, you know, don't go and kill yourself, because if you do, it's a lot of paperwork for us. Oh, well, I'll put my suicide on hold for you so that you don't have to do all that paperwork. This Luke, he's just as much a idiot, and yet I was saying to him, look, I understand. I don't expect you to take on all our problems and everyone's mental illness and trauma, but I had just met my brain damaged sister. That day, we had been messed around by the council and adult social care. Monique had sent us to St Mary's House to see a woman, you couldn't make this up, who was on annual leave. So then we go back to Monique. As a result, I miss an appointment for a scan at the hospital. That same day, we go into Wetherspoons. I'm telling my partner I just want to kill myself. And there's my sister, my transgender sister, with a beard. And these lefty lunatics are telling me that she's a man and basically I'm the crazy one. No, she's not. She's just turned 50. She had undiagnosed dissociative trauma issues. Trauma issues, yes. A locum said we need trauma-based therapy. And I've had nothing but trauma from these psychopath Freemasons. Now, if you don't know about the Tavistock Institute, I've spoken about it many times on my YouTube channel. There are many people who... In fact, actually, the Tavistock Institute have recently been in the news for many parents have sued the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations. These are the psychopaths that do these those covert operations that are out there to control the masses, right? That's what they are. They are psychopaths that are trained in mind control and human relations. It's all about, if you want to know more about it, ask Mark Devlin. He did a talk on Adamant's best friend, who is on a list of dodgy deaths, shall we say. She worked across the road from our house, and she got Adamant to write to me. He was tortured. His father was ex-military. He was in the paedophile, the Dolphin Square paedophile ring, deep state. So if you want to do the research, do the research. But, you know, if you're afraid, don't project your fear onto others by saying, oh, you've got to be schizophrenic or you've got to be nuts. Think for yourself, because that is the thing that's really making me angry about this woman who said she's worried about me. She comes from a background of drugs. I've had a sheltered life. I don't know about things like that. But she's telling me I should not be in that place. No, I should not. I come from a very good middle class upbringing, shouldn't be in this accommodation. They said they seem genuinely concerned for me. They're these two women, they're younger than me, but they're very motherly, and they said, darling, this place is not for you. In comparison, in contrast to this evil, and I mean, I don't use the word evil. I've never used the word evil as much as I have in my personal life. This evil 85-year-old retired matron who should be in prison, and she told the judge she was happy to go to prison for what she's done to me. And that was on the 8th of August. She's not in prison. She's gone abroad, come back, and she sent me another threatening email. But don't worry, because the solicitor has said, don't worry about that. So he's obviously used to dealing with this sort of thing. But these two women in this accommodation are genuinely concerned for me. I'm obviously upset because they think that I am well, one of them asked me if I was schizophrenic. And again, I'll reiterate. I said to them, I promise you, everything I'm telling you, you couldn't make it up. I couldn't lie to save my life. This is what's driven me to near insanity. The people I've met. And I think they are probably scared, which is why they said what they said. Maybe they've come from a life, if they've taken drugs, they've obviously been involved with drug dealers and whatnot. I haven't. And I think maybe this is why, in fact, as I'm saying all of this, it's making sense as to why I've been put through all of this. For the past 8 years, I've had to use disassociation in order to survive. I'm very concerned for my sister. I'm still in shock. I've been crying for her. She's in a very, very dark place. She thinks she's contacting our dead mother, but she's not. She's contacting familiar spirits. I mean, I come out of the Catholic Church and all that rubbish. I still need to tell her, I don't know if she knows this, but you're not praying to St. Mary. If you pray to dead people, you're praying to familiar spirits. You're not praying to, it's called necromancy, it's called divination. It's everything that Scripture condemns. And what my sister is doing is so dangerous. I can see the pain in her eyes. She's got a beard. They have brainwashed her. These psychopaths have brainwashed her. And what makes me also angry is I went to Matthew 25 the other day because I was told by these people that hand out food just up the road here, outside the Grand Hotel. They hand out food to the homeless. They're lovely people. I was told by one of the helpers, whose name I will not mention, to go to Matthew 25 and to go and see a woman who is no nonsense. I went to that woman the other day and I was in a great deal of distress. Don't forget, Chantel said to PC Scott Franklin Lester at Matthew 25, I think you'd better go down to A&E. So she's an informer. It's like Chantel is like a police informer. Do Eastbourne police give drugs? Do they actually? This is what I'm learning now. Do they actually share drugs? These I'm just trying to work it out here. Are they like the Cray twins, Eastbourne police, the Freemasons? Are they like, oh yeah, let's do a deal under the table, yeah, I'll give you some drugs, you hush hush. If you see Bryony causing any trouble, just let us know, would you? This is how it's coming across. Why would Sussex police be out of their jurisdiction outside the Royal Courts of Justice to grab John Patterson, a brave whistleblower, to chuck him in prison because he exposed Katie Bourne, the crime commissioner? I mean, anyone who's watching my videos, who's spreading malicious gossip, really needs to get a life. Because why would anyone be interested in listening to little old me who's just trying to get themselves. I just wanted a little bit of support like anybody else would, with the help, support of their mother's death. A little bit of support in the community. It was too much to ask for. I did what my mother said when she died, and then I couldn't cope. And now my sister has got brain damage that's life-threatening, caused by the loss of our mother. So all you covert narcissists out there who think you're Christians, who go out there doing this, this, what do you call it, virtue signalling. I've done everything. I've done care work. I was bullied so badly. When I did care work with the elderly 20 odd years ago, it made me physically ill. When my mother died, I took her advice, even though I couldn't physically. I got a kidney infection on one day that I went to a Christian coffee shop to help out. I got a kidney infection. That's how ill I was. I needed help. I was kicked out of supported accommodation by a social worker landlord who was in it for the pension. I've since learned he died of cancer. From the very people who live next door to this house that this evil landlady has locked me out of. Yes, welcome to Eastbourne. Welcome to sunny Eastbourne. So as I said, I went to Matthew 25 the other day to speak to this Maria. Nothing, absolutely nothing. These people, they tell you, oh, she's no nonsense. They'll help you with the legal side of housing. They'll help you with this, pastoral care, this, that, the other. No. But there was a young man there that day who had a lanyard around his neck, who was being trained. Trained for what? No nonsense. No, I'm sorry, Peter. No, he's not. She's not no nonsense. She's full of nonsense. She wouldn't help me with anything. She's telling me my sister is a man. Yeah, welcome to Lefty Looney Eastbourne. There you go, folks. And I have got so much respect, all the respect in the world for people like Jeff Mealing, Posy Parks, the woman who has gone to, she's done a bit of travelling overseas to America and New Zealand, where my mother used to live. She was almost attacked to the point where I think they might have killed her in New Zealand for speaking out against this. So as I said, I started a sentence I didn't finish earlier, but the Tavistock Institute recently were up in the news for a few years ago for doing these satanic experiments on children, these sex changes. I said to my sister, and I had to say it as carefully as I could, in the fragile state that she's in, brain damaged, thinking she's a man, I said, you do realise Adamant worships Baphomet, half man, half woman. It is satanic. And that's when you see the enemy comes to steal, kill and destroy and act as a distraction. That's when her carer in Wetherspoons went from being lovely to suddenly saying to me, you haven't seen, and she used my sister's new name. She's, she was saying he. You got to accept that he's a man now. And she swore at me, and so this idiot that's running Lilybank Homes, he's saying to me, I need to, if you're feeling suicide, this is the day, this is after I just met my sister, crying, seeing her in a crippled, brain damaged state, experimented on by these you-know-whats. I could say the B word, but I won't. And then getting abuse, verbal abuse, the council not doing as this Judge Harper had told them to do, get me an illegal evictions officer. My partner bought, I'll say it again, he bought me bedding. The shower was filthy. The fridge was filthy. Everything, he cleaned it all up. He got the key to the place. It was raining. I was getting abuse. It was just horrendous. So they don't even do what the courts. You're in this terrible, terrible, traumatized state, and you've just met your sister. You've missed an appointment at A&E. You feel like it's all being done deliberately, and to some degree it is. So we get into this bloody place that had a police raid. Oh, yeah, they really do care, don't they? And I tell John that the director of this place, this idiot that's so arrogant that he hung up on my partner, and he put in a complaint to the council about him, telling me that my partner shouldn't be there when there wasn't any bedding. He cleaned the place. In all female property, where they'd had another one of these dangerous female places, where they'd had a police raid. You're not safe in any of these places. It's anarchy. So I'm telling him in a shaky state like this, I've met my sister's brain damaged. She's got to take action to stay in her mother. She needs help washing and dressing, and the council have done this and that. And all he's saying is, oh, don't kill yourself, because it'll be a lot of paperwork. And that's the director. Well, I'll tell you what, well, if you are feeling suicidal, I've got to put in a complaint. I'll put in a concern for adults. So this is why I was saying to Luke, his contractor, I said, he's put in a concern to adult social care. No, there wasn't any concern, because I got a text message from this Louise. Adult social care do absolutely nothing. And when I say nothing, believe me when I say nothing. I just got a harassing text message from this Louise, who I've never met, saying, "Dear BM, yeah, not even Bryony or Miss McCarthy, dear BM, what do I say, dear L, can you please keep to the rules of the temporary accommodation?" How is that concern from John the director? Because no one was there to meet me at the property. The council weren't doing anything by law. There was no concern from. It was my partner who got me in there. Went out and bought the bedding. We got abuse from the hotel. We got abuse from the taxi driver. I've been crying my eyes out. I am still very worried about my sister and her carer, who was abusive to me in Weatherspoons. She's crippled, brain damaged. She wasn't like this last year, and I know that because I saw her from a distance doing gardening when I went past on the bus in Seaford, in our late mother's flat. And now all of a sudden, this is her 50th birthday. She doesn't know what I've been going through. We've been estranged all these years. And her carer, who seemed quite nice at first, suddenly turned all rough and ready and, well, you know what, Emma? You're watching my YouTube channel. We'd never met before. And even these girls in my temporary accommodation, I'm sorry, but me and my sister, we weren't brought up to swear at people. And these girls come from your neck of the woods. They come from a bit of a rough background, and they're saying I shouldn't be in there and that you should not have sworn at me. How dare you? I haven't seen my sister for years, haven't found out how our father died. She's very, very ill, mentally and physically. She's brain damaged. They've experimented on her body. She didn't need a sex change, in the same way I don't need a sex change. I was told by a locum we needed trauma-based therapy. Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm the mad one. Yeah. All these lefty loonies who are saying, oh, your sister's No, she's not. You go back 40 years, over 40 years, and she said, in front of you, she said, Mum and Dad said, don't be silly, you're a little girl. You're a girl, you need to wear a dress, or something like that. She's just a tomboy, that's all. A lot of people grow out of it. There are people who have been sexually abused by a parent and they've later admitted, I thought I was this, but I wasn't. It's because I was abused. Okay? And I actually have a friend, and Bronya knows who I'm talking about. I won't say her name. She's a peripatetic music teacher. We went to, I was still very traumatised by my mother's death. And we went to that Christian festival thing called, what was it called? At Butlins. Because she suddenly got it into her head that she thought she was a lesbian. Because she liked an opera friend who got me out of that place when my mother died. That supported accommodation that didn't help me. I was literally on the floor of that place with my arms out saying, no one's helping me, no one's helping me. She and her opera singer friend got me out of there. And she thought, now, I want to say something about this friend without saying her name. Her elderly father was once mayor of East Croydon. And there's probably links to Freemasonry there, that's all I'll say. But she got it into her head that she might be a lesbian. And I already knew, though. I had the insight to see that it was linked to her mother as to why she thought she was a lesbian. She's now married to a man. You see? It's trauma, neglect, and this is what people need to wake up to. It's all been set up like this. It's socially engineered. And let me tell you, there is only one way. And I'm hanging on. So Monique Prescott, you want to know what's stopping me from killing myself despite the evil that you are complicit in? I'll tell you what it is. The straight and the narrow path of Yeshua HaMashiach. I went to Matthew 25 the other day. They couldn't have cared less. But I'll say this. One of the men who was practically crying for me, an older man, I said, do you follow Yeshua? He said, who's Yeshua? I said, otherwise known as Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach. This is Matthew 25 mission. I said, you closed the door on me. I've come to you. You haven't opened you've closed the door on me. They'd given me a cup of tea, but then told me to. Where is it in the Bible? Is it Romans where it says a man shall not put on a woman's garment, and a woman shall not put on a man's garment? And I'm currently watching a video by YRM on Yahweh's Restoration Ministry about the sodomite agenda, and that was 9 years ago when I came into this with my partner. My partner brought me to Yahweh's name. So I just want people to know I've had to go through raw suffering. So without the use of drugs, illegal or otherwise, because you know pharmaceuticals, the word pharma in the Bible, pharma, is taken from, I think it's the Greek word, witchcraft. Pharma is to do with witchcraft. And you know these very dangerous billion-dollar pharmaceuticals, I don't take any of them. So I do hope the lady's back at the property where I am. I can't say, I've got to be very careful how I say this because I don't want to put my life or their lives in danger. So no one knows where I live. No one knows who I'm talking about. But I'm talking about vulnerable women who've just had boyfriends put in prison for beating them up, and they come from a background of drugs, and they're saying, darling, you shouldn't be in here. We want to get you into a one-bedroom flat where your partner can come and visit you. And I said, but that is what I'm trying to tell them, in a heightened state, angry, frustrated. And they immediately think, oh, this has got to be something. It's not schizophrenia. No, because very few people, I don't know anyone out there who is in my position. I don't know anyone from my background in my position who is speaking the truths that I am speaking. And I think this is a gift from Abby Yahweh. It is a gift. This has all happened to me for a reason. I'm going through this for a reason. But what really makes me cross is people like Trudy from Warming Up the Homeless. Because I wanted to go up there this evening, but they weren't there. She, as I said, she's ex-police. She set up this charity. You know, I've heard it all before. You will be helping others one day. And I hate to say it, but I have to say it. These people may work every hour that Yahweh sends, 100 hours a week. Why could she not phone me then? Why did she not contact me the way the team leader said she would? Because she said she helps vulnerable people. I'm just having an event. Hi there. It's all right, they haven't always been in here. I'm just having an event. Sorry. Just a sec. So I just paused it because my partner's just walked in here. I'm glad he kept me waiting an hour because he's giving me an hour to vent. But what is it about the truth that, you know, I was in a heightened state that day when I first of all, I went to the Samaritan shop. And I think one of the helpers knows who I am. I won't say why, but there's something about, I could be wrong, but it's how she said my full name. But I could be wrong. It's the fact that it says, there's a sign in the window saying, Samaritans World Suicide Prevention Day. Is it the 9th or the 10th of September? So it's in a few days' time. And I went in there and I said, you do realise that they've been pushing me to suicide, you know, it's all by design. And the thing is, the women in the shop, this is what really infuriates me about people in our what's the word? As part of our culture, women in our English, British culture, it's all very, you know, what can I do to help? Well, I can't get involved. And then there's this awkwardness, you know, we all do it. I've done it my whole life, so I know what it's like to be under the thumb. Too many chiefs, not enough Indians, and you get that in care work. But then when you get to a point in life where you need the help yourself, and you're going to these people, and you're having horrific trauma, horrific levels of corruption, and everyone's just like, oh, well, and it's, you know, don't get me wrong, there are two very nice ladies at Warming Up the Homeless. Those two girls stayed to listen to me. I won't say the name of the team leader, but they stayed just to listen to me in a heightened state. And they said, oh, I'll get Trudy to ring you. We'll talk to her tonight. We need to drive all the way back to Bexhill in the dark and get her to... Now, if this Trudy who set up Warming Up the Homeless, and she's ex-police, and I'm sure she does work every hour given to help others, but I am so frustrated because all I've got from her is, oh, I've batted it back to the council, and And I said, look, there are two women here. If she does so much for vulnerable women,